Hopefully this time my internet stays stable. We just tried to go on live and my Wi-Fi completely crapped out. But we are back. Alex Donno and Troy Stradford on the Extra Yard. We are proudly brought to you by Prize Picks, U Break Wheel Fix, and by BetterEdge.com. As football season is almost here, and Troy, seems like the Dolphins dodged a bullet today. At least I hope they did. With
Yes.
Terron Armstead carted off the field. We'll talk about what happened, but it sounds like he's going to be okay. Are you doing okay today?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. No work tomorrow. Football season is in preseason is in week 2. I'm good. We're getting closer and closer to the regular season.
September 10th is when the Dolphins open up the season at the Los
And by
Angeles
the way,
Chargers.
September 10th, right?
Yeah.
That's the start of the season. My birthday is September 11th. So
That's not a good day to have a birthday. But
that's for you people. Like for me, I'm like, that's my birthday.
okay, yeah. I mean, it was your birthday before 22 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So yeah,
Yeah.
it means something again. Like it's funny, Donald. The first 3 years after 9/11, I couldn't celebrate my birthday. I had to
No, I mean, how
celebrate
could
it
you? Yeah.
on the 10th or the 12th or whatever. But now it's back to normal, and I could celebrate it on my birthday.
I'm
The
not
11th.
far behind you. September 19th is mine. So
Really? So you're a
pretty similar.
Virgo.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I don't know what that means to this day, but I know that's what I am.
I'm a big astrology guy
Oh,
when it
yeah?
comes to signs. Yes, yes.
Okay.
You could throw, well, I don't know all the signs, but Virgo people are some of the most diverse, in-depth people
Yeah.
on this planet.
Yeah.
You're a caring person.
Yeah, I try to be.
You're a loving person.
Yeah.
You're a thinking person. All of those things like mean something. Like there are some signs where people are, I'm going off on a tangent, but there are some signs where people are selfish. It's all about them. That's not you. That's
Nope.
not me.
Nope.
It's not all about us. It's all about the people around us.
I like how I got my daily horoscope here from Troy Stradford. I appreciate that.
It did say you might get a speeding ticket next week, though. So
Oh no! I'll drive very slowly. So I don't know, man. I guess until we get the official MRI results, we'll hold our breath on this one because the last time I remember someone getting carted off of Dolphins practice was Jalen Ramsey, and we did not get the good news we were hoping for on that one. But today, the man who got carted off during joint practice with the Houston Texans is, I think, one of the two most important players on the team, and that's left tackle Terron Armstead, right? I mean, after Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know if there's a single more important player on the team than Terron Armstead. It was the very first play of team drills today. Terron goes down, gets carted off the field. It happened after a Raheem Mostert carry. He was on the ground after the play was whistled dead, was in discomfort. He got up. His body language showed frustration, according to Alan Poupar of Sports Illustrated. He ended up getting carted off. So that's the bad news. The good news is after practice, Armstead said, he appreciates everyone giving him well wishes, but he videotaped himself walking. So he's walking, and he sent a text to Cameron Wolfe, who covers the NFL and the Miami Dolphins, and he told Cam Wolfe that he's okay. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and say a bullet was dodged today. But, Troy, we're going to have to keep holding our breath anytime Terron Armstead participates in anything. They might just keep him in bubble wrap until September 10th, right? Because he's got the injury history.
There are a number of players. I put X-Man on that list as well.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast, the way I look at it. In football, when you get to a certain age and you have overcome injury after injury after injury, eventually it's going to catch up with you. So when I look at the Miami Dolphins team, and yes, Ramsey went down first. Hopefully hopefully he'll come back towards the later part of the season and be able to contribute for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
But when I look at sports, and I don't care what sport you want to talk about, it's all about timing. Can you get your team healthy on the field, ready to go at the same time? Or do you get there? You're almost there, right? You're almost there. And then all of a sudden, you have this injury.
Yeah.
It's on a normal play. It just happens. Your body breaks down over time. Like I look at the New York Jets, who I'm very excited about. And I've never been excited about the New York Jets.
Yeah, how dare you even say that, Troy? How dare you?
I'm excited about the New York Jets because they're going to be a damn good football team.
Yeah.
And so that will raise your play. I always said that going way back. I go, they're going to make the Miami Dolphins play better. So I like that. If the New York Jets was to suffer an injury because a number of their stars, quote unquote stars, okay, if one of them were to get hurt, then what do? And I think you could go down the list. If Patrick Mahomes was to get hurt, what do? And so that's the nature of the beast. Is you just have to overcome. But the mentality of every football team, and I know this for a fact, if someone goes down, you know the phrase, next man up, right? I look at the San Francisco 49ers last year, right? Their starting quarterback goes down, and Purdy, who was Mr. Irrelevant, who was the last pick of the draft, he came in and he righted the ship, and he took that team to the NFC Championship game. And I'm sitting there saying that could happen on any team. So we never know, man. That's why, even though I love it, gambling sucks because
I love it too, and it sucks. But would you agree? When I said Terron Armstead, I think is a top 2 most important player on this team because we saw it and we know the deal with him. It would be a unicorn if he can get through 17 plus games healthy. It's just the nature of the beast. He's going to miss a few games, right? We saw it last year, and they looked like a different team when Terron Armstead wasn't on the field. Right. I mean, even I don't think it was a coincidence that Tua Tagovailoa tend to also get held out of games when Terron Armstead wasn't playing because, they don't want to get him destroyed and get him killed. So I get it, the next man up mentality, but I worry enough about the Dolphins offensive line to begin with. Even when Armstead is healthy, they cannot afford for him not to be healthy. You might as well then play Mike White if Terron Armstead isn't healthy.
The Miami Dolphins offensive line, I've been out to a number of practices, and the Miami Dolphins offensive line has certainly not impressed. Now, going through the whole system, I always know that that's probably one of the last units to come together unless you are an established offensive line who have been working together for 2, 3, 4 years. The biggest thing with Armstead going down right now is I'm sure they're going to hold him out of practice, right? I think even more so, the guy that's playing right next to him at left guard may be more important or just as important.
And that's not a good sign because we don't know who the starting left guard is going to be. Nobody seems to want that job.
Absolutely. And I just don't get it. But anyone, right? You have a friend, you're in a relationship, whatever, and you don't actually have to hear verbal communication from that person that you're dealing with. But what they're thinking, what they're going to do. I'm not saying you're 100% right all the time. So I'm more worried about Armstead not being around and him not playing next to the guy next to him at left guard, and them being able to develop this nonverbal communication of, I know what you're going to do. I can remember going back to like Richmond Webb was our left tackle and Keith Sims was our left guard. And I can remember having conversations with Keith more so than with the left tackle. I forgot his name real quick, and I just said it. He would talk about, I knew what Richmond, that was in there. Yeah. I knew what Richmond was going to do before he did it. And Richmond knew what I was going to do before I did it, because they practiced. When Shula drafted them, same draft, he put them in day one, and he allowed them to gel together and get that communication, that camaraderie amongst themselves. So now with Armstead, now you look at this. If you're the head coach, Donald, do you put him into another preseason game?
No,
I don't.
So I don't put him in another joint practice either. Maybe just a regular practice when you're not going up against another team, maybe, but not a joint practice, because I don't trust another team's players the way I would trust my own.
And so, do we know who the left guard is gonna?
It could be one of three people. Could be Liam Eichenberg. Could be Isaiah Wynn. Could be Cotton. It's a three-man competition.
Okay, but have any of them really worked with Armstead on a consistent basis where they get to develop this nonverbal communication? And that's what worries me the most.
Yeah.
It just worries me. It just worries me. I mean, we're sitting there, we get an injury in the defensive backfield with Ramsey, and now we have one on the offensive line. And it's funny how it's not funny, but it's just weird how it's key positions for the Miami Dolphins. Last year, right? Jones, right, in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get Ramsey in the secondary. Now we get Armstead. Hopefully he'll come back. These positions are key positions. And yes, every team suffers injuries, but not so early in the season, and you have to overcome them. But that's my biggest worry right now. Not that he's not at practice. It's that he's not at practice, and then he's not developing that camaraderie with the person sitting or playing right next to him.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear. Makes a lot of sense. Hell of a point. And, obviously we hope Terron Armstead is going to be okay. He sent out a video of himself walking around. He told Cameron Wolf he's fine. So, but Troy made
players don't do that.
Though. Yeah.
Players don't do that if they're really hurt. So
that's a good point. That's a great point. He wouldn't want to lie and mislead the fans. Right. We're going to talk about a business situation when business bleeds into football when we come back, because one of the best players on the Miami Dolphins, Christian Wilkins, is holding out. So we will get to that and more. Keep it locked right here to a new Extra Yard, Donno and Troy Stradford. And we want to welcome back our friends and great sponsor at U-Brake Wheel Fix, which is the complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to a sidewalk curb? I know I have. U-Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, curb rash. Are your wheels faded or peeling? You don't need to replace them. U-Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new, offering complete refinish options through powder coating, matching, polishing. U-Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, U-Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options, such as new custom wheels and tires for from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, suspension modifications. They are located just south of Aventura. You can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at U-Brake Wheel Fix. They're also active on all social media platforms, and you want to follow them at U-Brake Wheel Fix on all platforms, because they post these badass pictures of when they customize wheels. They can do them in Dolphins colors, Heat colors, Vice colors. Shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I guess Twitter is now X, to get an estimate in just minutes at You Break Wheel Fix. And Troy, football season coming around. That means you and I are going to be getting into a lot of Prize Picks this coming season.
Yes.
Have you done any preseason? I took the first preseason week
No.
off, but I might do a little
Donno.
preseason this weekend at Prize Picks.
No, Donald, listen, I would love to, but I'm sitting there saying I can't get inside the head of a head coach of either of the two teams that are playing. So I'm tempering myself, but I'm going full steam ahead once this season starts because, I kind of walked away for a little bit. Like, you have to know yourself. You have to control yourself, right? So for all the bettors out there, it's a wonderful thing to do, but control yourselves. But when football season comes around, I'm out of control.
There you go. Well, listen, whether you're going to be diving into preseason or you're waiting for the regular season like Troy, you want to sign up at prizepicks.com or the PrizePicks mobile app. If you sign up today, guys, PrizePicks mobile app, prizepicks.com, when you make that first deposit, make sure you use our code 5, F-I-V-E. Please, because if you're signing up without the code, you're costing yourself money, literally. Because when you sign up with our code FIVE, they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. You deposit $100, they give you an extra $100 in free play money. I've done it before. I know it works. Troy's done it before. He knows that works. And then
my son did not do it, and he was broke in week 2.
He didn't have the extra $100. So Don't be like Troy's son. Be like Troy and use our code FIVE. So what Prize Picks is, it's fully legal, by the way, in Florida. So there's nothing shady. You're not skirting around the law with this. It combines my love for daily fantasy and for parlays. You simply select 2, 3, 4, 5 players, predict if they're going to go over or under, higher or lower than their stat projections. And if you get all your predictions correct, you're winning real money. Another service we're going to be using during football season, you could use it tonight on baseball and preseason this weekend, bettoredge.com, BETTOR edge.com. This is another genius service, guys, and fully legal in the state of Florida. It's the closest thing you're going to get to a legal sports book in Florida because it's a social platform. You're not betting against a casino or betting against the house or a book. You're betting against other people. So it's brilliant the way that they do this. So check it out at bettoredge.com. Use our code 5RSN, and they're going to give you a $20 gift for signing up today. So you've got everything you need heading into football season. So, Troy, when we talk about getting that money, Christian Wilkins, Miami Dolphins defensive tackle.
Yes.
He's heading into the final year of his rookie deal. He's going to be paid, I think, about $10 million this year. He's looking for a new contract. He wants to be a Miami Dolphin. He wants to remain a Miami Dolphin. Seems like the going rate these days for top defensive tackles is a long-term deal worth over $90 million. So I'm sure that's got to be the neighborhood he's looking at. And Wilkins has made a business decision that I respect. He's still with the team, but he's in kind of a mini holdout because he's with the team, but he's not participating in team drills in practice because he's sending a message to the Dolphins. I want to take these negotiations, and I want you to take these negotiations very seriously. And I'm not going to be a full participant until we work out a deal. And then I'm sure he also, Troy, doesn't want to get injured in practice while they're working out a deal. I'm okay with this. I'm not one of those guys who's like, why do you only want money? You're not thinking about your teammates. Wilkins has to think about himself and his family first.
Sports nowadays, and I don't care which one you want to pick, is more about taking care of yourself and taking care of your family, right? What Wilkinson is doing right now is unheard of back when I played. Just unheard of. They'd be like, all right, see you later. Get out of here. This young man has played his tail off. He's a leader on this football team. He makes plays for this football team. And he's a beast to deal with for every offensive line that he goes up against. I have no problem backing what he is doing. And that develops from conversations with your agent, and your agent is saying, all right, look, this is going on. He's saying this is going on. Wilkinson is saying, I'm better than this guy. I'm better than that guy. Look what they're getting paid. The Miami Dolphins will pay him at the end of this. There's no question about that. And I don't think he's going to walk back through that door if they don't pay him. So kudos to him. I've always sided on the side of players. I'm a former player. The guys that work upstairs in the office, the front office, 95% of them were not players.
Yeah.
They are the smart guys. They're on the side of corporate, and that's their job to do the best for the team.
Yeah, their job is to try to spend as little of the owner's money as possible. And also, you got to work within the salary cap. So that's where the tug, because I'm sure like Chris Greer would be more than happy making Christian Wilkins, the highest paid defensive tackle ever. But
into the puzzle, right?
Right.
Does the money fit into what we're trying to do as an organization?
Yeah.
And like there are so many teams out there like the Kansas City Chiefs. I know they took care of Patrick Mahomes, but at some point, Patrick Mahomes is going to make too much money where they can't improve the team around Patrick Mahomes unless they fall into this miracle situation like the New England Patriots had with Tom Brady, where Tom Brady took less money.
Aaron Rodgers just did that with the Jets.
Absolutely. That doesn't happen often. So do you want to win? Do you want to make more money? You got to fit it all together. But the Miami Dolphins eventually will pay him.
By the way, I got this message from our guy Andy in Scotland who says Donno keeps losing weight, looking good. I'll be honest here. I have, because Troy, at a certain point, I was literally down 60 pounds. I've gained about 20 of them back. I'm trying not to gain any more back, but after being down 60, you gain 20 back. It's like I'm still way down there. I had too many little vacations and too many nice restaurants over the summer. So I did gain some of my weight back, but I'm still way down.
Pounds?
Yeah, I went from let me see, what was maybe you can do the math better than me. My peak high before, actually it wasn't even my peak high, but right before I started losing weight, I was 247, and then I got down to 183. Was that the lowest
COVID?
That I got?
Was that COVID time?
I'm not going to use COVID as an excuse. It was my choice to eat the way that I was eating for a couple of years. I'm not going to blame COVID. The way a lot of people are like, oh yeah, still got my COVID weight. I'm not going to blame COVID. Those were my choices to eat all that Nutella while I was on lockdown. That was my choice. That was on me. But yeah, a lot of that weight was gained, right before, during, right after the pandemic. So I was down. Went down from 247 to 183. Is that 64 pounds? Is that what I was down? And I think I'm back at like 202 or something. So I'm going to get back under 200 again.
Okay, so where were you right out of high school? How much did you weigh?
Right out of high school, I was about 185, 188. So I actually got down. I got down at one point, very briefly, below my high school weight, which was crazy.
All right.
Very few people ever accomplish that. Like how many like grown men in their late 30s or 40s do you talk to that are like, yeah, I weigh a few pounds less than when I graduated high school. I was there for like 2 weeks. I was less than when I graduated high school.
All right. You're on a mission though.
Yeah, I'm on a mission.
Okay.
Andy says he's still got his COVID bod. I don't know if it's Scotland. Maybe the lockdowns were worse than they were over here.
Like COVID, I was like locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Went to work in the morning, came home, got on the bike, rode for like 10, 15 miles, came back, did exercise and everything. COVID went away, and that went away.
Really? Oh, man.
I keep talking to myself. I'm like, come on, Troy, you're getting older. You gotta. I can't start. I'm looking for the motivation to get me to start.
Yeah. Well, you'll find it. For me, and motivation is important because, like, for me, it was a little over 2 years ago was when I started dropping weight. I get blood work done every year, and like my cholesterol had like spiked, and it was kind of high. So when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to mess around anymore. Like, yeah, I would have started to take this a little more seriously. I think my cholesterol was up to 230, and I'm back in the 180s. So that's been a good consequence
You
of the
gotta
weight
eat
loss.
right. You gotta eat
Yeah,
right also. See, and I think
exactly.
that's my crutch. Like I eat right. So I'm like,
Yeah,
all right, but I eat right.
yeah.
So I got to put it all together.
Yeah, you'll
Anyway,
get there, Troy. I'll give you some motivation. I'll call you up and I'll tell you to work out. I'll boss you around. I'll tell you not to eat so much, and we'll make
okay.
it happen. What did you think going back to this past Friday? Obviously, nobody cares about the score in preseason. It
Right.
was not a very exciting game though, Troy. 19-3, the Dolphins lost to the Falcons. It was second and third teamers. Virtually none of the starters played in that game, which was to be expected. What were your big takeaways though? Anything you liked, anything you didn't like about the Dolphins
What I
preseason
didn't
opener?
like was that the Miami Dolphins scored 3 points. I don't care
Yes, I
who's
yeah,
on the field.
yeah.
I go back before McDaniel days, and I would always question how come the Miami Dolphins on a weekly basis are the team that's scoring least amount of points. And so now I see them score 3 points, and I look at all the other preseason scores, and I'm like, teams are scoring points, but I'm not going to get bent out of shape right now. I just believe that the Miami Dolphins, their number one priority, okay, the
Hmm.
number one priority has to be getting the right five guys in place and playing well together on the offensive line. I
Right.
think every other position on this team, listen, you're going to make plays, plays are going to be made against you, but you cannot have breakdowns and you cannot have a unit that prevents you from calling certain plays or doing certain things. And so I look at this and I go, the Miami Dolphins right now, they have to solidify the Hawks, the guys. I hate to steal it from the old Washington Redskins, but
Yeah.
you got to have guys ready to go into the trenches and get things done. And that's my biggest concern. I really don't compare about or worry about other teams. I really don't.
Anything you did like that stood out?
No,
Yeah, I agree.
no.
Yeah, well, we will leave it at that. Hopefully, we'll see more in the second preseason game. Real quick though, before we wrap it up, do you think would you play Tua this week, next week? Would you play Tua at all in preseason, or just keep him on ice?
The thing that has alarmed me is when we look at the Miami Dolphins last year, they were in sync. I'm talking about Tua, the wide receivers, they were in sync.
Yeah,
Teams had a very tough time defending that, and I haven't seen any of that in the practices that I've been to. So I don't know. I see maybe 10, 15 plays where Tua is the quarterback, and it doesn't look good.
mm,
And then I see leakage in the offensive line. So that's another reason why it didn't look good. And then I see one play that's a bomb touchdown to Tyreek Hill, and everyone thinks everything looks good. And I'm sitting there saying, nah, like, that could happen, but you have to be a little bit more consistent. So, what I'm looking for, and this could come in practice against other teams that they had. I believe this is the last time that they're going to practice against.
Correct.
Today was the Texans.
Yeah.
I think that work is crucial, but I don't think that the Miami Dolphins offensively are on the same page. Now, I could be 100% wrong on this because practice is one speed, preseason is another speed, regular season is an entirely different speed. So hopefully, because these guys, again, second year in offense, okay, second year in offense, like we're not seeing a Tyreek Hill in training camp this year that we saw last year. Last year he had to prove something. This year he's like, I'm ready. I'm just waiting to turn it on. So it's very tricky to figure this out. Like for all the reporters that go out there on a daily basis and they break down this guy or they break down this guy or that play, I sit there and go, week one, let's talk after week one. But I know that's their job. And like I said to you before the show, this is the most preseason football that I've ever watched in my life. I miss football so much. So I'm looking forward to the start of the season. I'm so happy that they eliminated that fourth game.
Yeah.
So now we're about to approach game 2, and we'll have one more week after that. And then the season starts on September 10th.
Yeah. And Troy, college season's going to be here even before that. So we're going to have college football week and a half before the NFL. So we're good. We're good.
Yes. And I like what your Canes are doing. I really do.
Well, we're going to see you guys against Boston College at the end of the season. Miami's going to go up there, and I've been telling people, obviously, BC had an even worse year than Miami last year, but I do not look at that as a cakewalk because going up to Boston at the end of the year, that's been kryptonite for Miami a lot of years. So I do not take that game for granted.
Cold weather.
Yeah.
I hope it's snowing and all of that, where the UN players come out of the locker room and they're just like in shock, like, oh my God, like what are we gonna do with this stuff? But we got our issues at Boston College. All things are not right up there right now.
I know. Hopefully you guys can straighten things out and make that ACC a little stronger. And Miami's got to do the same thing. Huge thank you and shout out to everybody who took time to tune in today. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on our YouTube channel. And if you're looking for an audio only version, because, maybe we're just too handsome for you and you'd rather just listen, you can get it on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast feed. So our friends, Alf, Simon, and Chris are nice enough to host the Extra Yard on 3 Yards Per Carry. So you can get us on their podcast feed. And we'll talk to you guys again next time on another episode of the Extra Yard on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.